Hey, what's going on everybody? Ethos here, part of MMOBomb.com, coming at you guys with a first look at a shooter that has been, I guess, around for a while now, but it has officially left its beta phase and it's now officially out kind of as a shadow drop. The Finals is a free-to-play FPS shooter, multiplayer based. I would say it's kind of like a virtual like game show, but like a death battle where you could kind of call it a battle royale, kind of call it like an extraction shooter, kind of mixed together. The only difference here is that you do respawn. This isn't a game where it's simply you have one life and once you're killed, you're kicked out of the game. It's instead a game where you're kind of moving around the map and grabbing certain objectives and then banking them for points. And then at the end of the match, the person that has the most amount of points, or cash in this case and scenario, wins pretty much the entire game. So there's 3 people per team and there's about 3 to 4 different teams all running on this map. So it's basically Team A versus Team B versus Team C, sometimes with a Team D depending on the game mode. And there's 2 main game modes that they have. The first one is sort of like a kill confirm. Go to these different locations that have vaults spread around the map. You unlock these vaults that give you coins, and then you take these coins to an extraction point, and then you deposit them, and that gives you point. So kind of like a kill confirmed hybrid. The other one is a little bit more difficult. This one's more of you go to a vault point, you actually grab the vault itself, and then you take it to one of these like basically depositing boxes where then you have to deposit it into this area, and then you have to wait and protect it until it gets deposited fully, and then you get the full amount. And then by the end of the match, it calculates who basically banked the most amount of money, and that person ends up winning the game. It has 3 different character classes. So these 3 character classes are basically the smaller person, the medium build, and the big build. These different builds do things drastically different. You could consider them the classes of these games. You have the small build, which is more of your like run and gun, really fast character, but they also have the lowest amount of health in the game, and their weapons mostly revolve around stealth and just really like getting up in your face and trying to kill you as fast as possible. This includes things like SMGs, melee, knives, shotguns, pretty much your run and gun type of class. Then you have the medium build. This is more of the balanced build, kind of what you would expect from any other FPS shooter. These characters basically do what you expect. They are kind of a support role. They either support their teammates or they lay down sort of like items that help to protect your position or cause area of denial. They have things like assault rifles, sniper rifles, just a couple of shotguns as well, revolver. They basically have a range and they're kind of like a jack of all trades. They can do a bunch of different things really depending on how you try to build them. And then you have the big guy. These are basically your tanks. They have the biggest health pool out of everybody in the game. They carry heavy weaponry, also RPGs. They're basically your big tanks for your team that can soak up a lot of damage and output a lot of damage, but they are the slowest, and they're the biggest, so they're the easiest to hit. This on top of the environment, which is very dynamic. The map is mostly pretty much destructible. Almost every aspect of the map has destructibility in it, and the tools that you can use in the game allow you to destroy stuff, as well as the in-game environments as well. When they launched this game, they included a brand new map in Las Vegas, so there's this cool Vegas map. There's also all the ones that were in the beta before that are also in this game as well. I would say that this feels a lot like a Battlefield game. The developers are in fact developers that did work on Battlefield, and I would actually say, if I could make a comparison, this game feels like, to me, like from a gameplay movement style, it reminds me a lot of Battlefield 5, except it's a little bit faster, and also it's a little bit harder to kill people. The time to kill in this game has always been a point of contention for me personally. I've played this game multiple times throughout its life cycle, and every single time I've played it, one of the biggest complaints I've had about it is in fact the time to kill. I've always felt that it takes way too long to kill people in this game, and at launch it seems like they have made a change that, from what I could perceive, does feel like the time to kill is faster. It takes a lot more time than in a Battlefield game, especially a way longer time than it does in a Call of Duty game, and so that might throw some people off. I would definitely say it's close to the Halo time to kill, if not a little bit longer. And this gets a little bit frustrating, especially when you're fighting heavier, bigger tanks, as they can just soak up pretty much a lot of damage. Sometimes you get these unfair exchanges in sometimes combat where, you know, you'll output your entire clip into somebody and they won't die, and then because they have heavy weaponry, they'll turn on you and just kill you really fast. And since you are playing like a weaker character, you end up dying immediately. Now, that's been my experience just because I usually play the smaller or the medium build, so that's just been my experience, but I'm pretty sure people who are playing heavier classes don't really feel this sentiment because they can just soak up a lot of damage. Since all these characters have abilities such as like a grapple hook, a juggernaut ability where you can run through walls, walls. There's movement tech in the game that can allow players to get away, and that sometimes can be frustrating, but I think it really depends on the type of player. If you like that type of movement tech and you don't mind the longer time to kill, then I think you'll find a game here that is actually really solid. I think the game runs really well. I've had no issues with optimization. I've had no issues with this game from like overall, like how the game plays and moves. I think that it has a lot of player agency where you can kind of do a lot of cool dynamic ways to get to the objective, whether it's like blowing through buildings, but the overall loop of what you're doing is pretty much going to be the same thing no matter the type of game mode you're playing. Now, of course, they said they're going to be adding more content to the game. Right now, there is a battle pass currently available, which is your standard fare. There is some cool stuff in this that I do like. I think that overall the art style and some of the cool character customization, considering that you can customize almost every aspect of your character, not only physically, but also clothing wise, from their shirt, their pants. There's a lot of customization options in this. So of course, with that comes a lot of microtransactions that you can afford. This game does give you away cosmetics by just playing the game, and you do unlock a lot of the gameplay elements only through in-game currency that can only be achieved by playing the game. I didn't see any pay to win here, so that's pretty good. And I didn't run into any cheaters either. I do think that if you are currently tired of Apex and Warzone and Valorant or whatever else, and you kind of want to try something a little bit fresh, a little bit different, this game might be up your alley. If you're a fan of Battlefield or kind of the older Battlefield where it was more destructibility, I think you'll be a fan of this as well. But I think if you're looking for something more like your standard, like kind of like arena deathmatch type of experience, that's not here. This is definitely a very objective oriented game. Yeah, if you're not that type of player, I don't think you're really going to end up enjoying this game as much. The overall sound design is really good in this game. I didn't have any issues being able to detect other players, and also the explosions and everything else going off. The game sounds really good. It definitely does feel like a high quality game. And there's also tools as well and equipment, stuff like breach charges, different types of grenades, and goo that you can use to basically cause air of denial, and also flashbangs. So there is a cool amount of equipment, but the question is really, in my mind, is how long will these tools feel very engaging, considering that these are tools that you've seen in a bunch of other shooters. There's nothing really new and innovative here. A lot of them are mechanics that you have seen in multiple other shooters. Overall, I feel like this game does enough that I think anybody will be willing to like look at the gameplay of this game and just immediately decide if they're kind of interested in this game or not. There hasn't been really any sort of red flags as I've played this game. It just seems like a well put together shooter that I think will garner a sort of community that wants to play it in the months that follow. But really, I think the thing that's going to allow this game to strive and just be able to keep going is really going to come down to the content, if they're going to add new maps. Because if you've played this game in its past beta, you've already played 2 of the other maps pretty heavily, and there's one new map which I think is the best map out of all of them. There's really only so many times that you could play this brand new map before you get kind of bored of it. So really it's going to depend on how long it's going to take them to produce new maps and potentially brand new weapons into the game to really keep the player base engaged with this game. I should also mention too, they do have a ranked mode in this. It is a sort of ladder climb where you are playing against other teams and you eliminate teams until you can reach the top, and you play on different modes and different maps. It kind of reminds me of Fall Guys, where it's like only a certain amount of people can make it to the next round, and then and it keeps reducing and reducing until there's one final winner. I think that, yeah, this game is really cool. I think the destruction's really cool. I think the graphics are really cool. The art style, I think it nails gameplay mechanics, and the shooting mechanics are really solid. It's a really solid game overall. Surrounding it is already a progression system, a rank system. Like, there's fundamentals here that are already built. It has a very solid foundation. Ultimately, what this game will really come down to is what they decide on building past this foundation, and will it allow it to sustain the game into the future. And that's pretty much my first impressions of the finals. Let me know in the comment section below if you've tried this game out, since it is free. Let me know in the comment section below if you like it, dislike it, what do you love, what do you hate? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Oh, and by the way, the finals is currently available on PC, Steam, as well as PS5 and Xbox Series X. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, everyone.